We're now on to round 27 and we're going to increase again, this time up to 30. Now you will notice at the start of that stitch is at grey. It doesn't really matter because the hood will actually hide that anyway in this one. Okay, we're now going up to 30, so it's an increase round again, 3 double crochets and then an increase. So 1, 2, 3, and an increase stitch. 1, 2. I've realised I've not put my stitch marker in, so I'm just going to go back and put that in. But follow that repeat round and I'll meet you round at the end of the round. And we're now on to round 28, which is an increase up to 36. So you've got 30 from the last round, we're going up to 36. It's a similar pattern to before. It's 4 double crochets and then 1 increase. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then an increase, which is 2 in the same stitch. If you do that all the way around, and I'll meet you back at the end of the round. And then the next round, round 29, is also an increase round. We're now increasing up to 42 stitches. So as before, we're going to do 5 double crochets and then 1 increase and repeat that all the way round. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1 increase. So that's 2 in the same one. Repeat that all the way around and meet you back round at the end of the round. Okay, so you've now got 42 stitches all the way around. The next 5 rounds are just putting 1 stitch in each stitch of the round before. So your next 5 rounds are all going to be 42 stitches, 1 in each one all the way around. It's a good idea to mark this off as you go so you know how many rounds you've done, and it's quite hard to count them otherwise. Put your stitch marker in each time, so you've only got your 42, but make sure you do 5 rounds of it, and I'll meet you back once you've done those 5 rounds. So you can see that the head is coming on quite nicely now. We're sort of towards the end of it. We're going to start decreasing now. We've got 42 stitches currently. The next round, which is round 35, we're going to go down to 36 stitches, which is again the opposite of what we were doing when we were increasing. We're going to do 5 double crochets and then a decrease. So remember, I do that in the front loops only. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then a decrease, front loop of the first stitch, front loop of the second stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through both, and that is your decrease. Repeat that all the way around, so 5 double crochet and then a decrease, and I'll meet you back at the end of the round. Now that we're starting to decrease, this is when I actually stuff the body, because my body is completely empty still, or my penguin's body. So you're going to need about 2/3 of the stuffing. Now the stuffing is just for the main body of the penguin, so you don't need to save any for the feet or anything like that, but you will need a little bit more for the head. So you just push it through, pushing it right down into the body, and keep piling it in. So you're going to use about 2/3 of your stuffing. Save a little bit for your head, but just keep pushing it down. You can use your finger, you can use the end of your crochet hook, you can use a pencil, whatever you've got to hand. But it takes a lot more stuffing than you realise. You can just keep feeding it in. Try and make sure to sort of push it into the bit underneath the neck, otherwise that'll end up a bit floppy. So just keep pushing your stuffing in. I'll add a bit more into mine. So save a little bit for your head, but the majority of it can go in the body, and it really depends how sort of firm you want your penguin's body to be. Try and push in all the areas. He's still got a few little bits that I think I can push into, so I'm going to put a little bit more in mine. So I can feel that it's, you know, starting to get quite full. Pushing right underneath the neck as well, where the wings are. You can shape it as you wish. I think I might save the rest for his head there. That's looking quite full. I'm quite happy with that. So I haven't actually stuffed his head just yet. We'll do that before we close it. We're on to the next round. And the next round is another decrease round, and we're going to decrease to 30 stitches this time. So same principle as before, but 4 double crochets and 1 decrease. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then your decrease, the front loop of the first, front loop of the second, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through both, and repeat that all the way around. So 4 double crochets and then a decrease. And we're now about to start round 37, which is also a decrease round. We're now decreasing to 24 stitches. So in the same way, this is going to be 3 double crochets and then 1 decrease. So double crochet, double crochet, double crochet, and your decrease. Now you will notice you do need to try and keep these stitches as tight as you can, otherwise you'll end up with gaps on your decreases, and you don't really want that because that's when your stuffing comes out. Okay, now repeat that all the way around, 3 double crochet and 1 decrease, and I'll meet you back round at the end of the round. And we're now going to start round 38, which is another decrease round. We're decreasing down to 18 this time. So it's 2 double crochets and 1 decrease. It does get a bit harder as you get into a smaller area to work with, but just keep trying to keep that tension nice and tight. So 1 double crochet, 2 double crochet, and then your decrease. Repeat that all the way around, and I'll meet you back round at the start. Okay, so now we're down to 18. The other great thing about your stitch marker is that if you put it into your loop that you pull up in your current stitch and close it off, it actually prevents that stitch from undoing itself. So it's quite a handy thing when you're trying to stuff the head and things like that. So now you are going to stuff the head. You can use the rest of your stuffing. I mean, you don't have to use it all if you don't want to, but you don't need to keep any more now. It can all go in here. So notice I'm just putting a small amount in at a time. You don't want to overstuff it because that might help to make gaps that you don't really want. You can just gently use the end of your crochet hook to stuff it in, or I say you can use a pencil, anything really. I've still got a bit of room, so I'm going to add a bit more, try and tuck it right in underneath. It's really the firmer the better, So try and get as much as you can in of that stuffing. Okay, I might even try and get just a little bit more in. So you don't need to keep any of the stuffing, so use whatever you've got if you want to. You don't need to save it for anything else. Okay, I think that's probably as much as I'm going to get in there. So now we've got a couple more decreasing rounds to do. So I'm just going to pull that loop up again. And put my stitch marker into that final stitch so I don't lose my place. And we're now going from 18 stitches down to 12. So we're going to do a decrease on every other stitch. Now this is where you really do need to try and keep it tight because it will come away with you now that it's quite heavily stuffed. Okay, so you're going to do a double crochet and then a decrease in each stitch around. So the first one, double crochet, trying to keep it nice and tight as you do it. And then the next one is a decrease stitch, just the front loops only. This is where it's actually helpful to have like 3 or 4 hands. I'm just trying to keep the tension as tight as I can all the way around. So the next stitch, double crochet, and then the next one, a decrease, and continue that all the way around to the end of the round, and I'll meet you back here. And we're now on to the final round where we're going to decrease every stitch, because then you're going to go from 12 stitches down to 6. So you're going to decrease every time. So you'll put your hook in, keep trying to keep your tension nice and tight. Try and do front loops only. It does get rather fiddly when you get to this point. So that's your first decrease stitch. You'll end up just doing 6 decrease stitches all the way around. Notice I'm really trying to keep my tension tight as I do this. The tighter, the better. So that's 2. Keep doing this all the way around. You're going to have 6 decrease stitches. Trying to do it in just front loops only. If you do find that a bit too tricky, that's fine. You can do it in both. Not quite gone into the front loop there. Okay. So that's 3. I'm going to do the other 3 and I'll meet you back round to the start. And once you've managed to do all of those final decrease stitches, you'll find you've got a very small hole now to close off, and we just do that with a yarn needle. Okay, I'm going to snip off the end and you can pull it through. Just keep pulling the tail through and then thread your yarn needle. And then it's a good idea just to try and sort of weave in and out of these last stitches that you've got, just to fully close it off. I'm just going in and out of them as I go round. This bit won't actually be seen anyway because you're going to put a hood on this penguin, but in other amigurumi it would be seen, and you just try to make it as neat as you possibly can. I like to try and squish down the top a little bit as well. Oh, it's okay if it comes off, just thread it again. So I'm just going back and forth, pulling it nice and tight to close off the hole. And then I'm just going up and down over it to try and make it a little bit flatter as well. And once you've done that, you can just lose your tail in the head somewhere, doesn't matter where. Snip it off, and then that should be nice and secure. And your tail, if you squidge it, your tail will be completely gone and lost inside. So you've got your penguin, and we're now going to make the little hood to go over the head. That's also made in grey, and then we've got the feet and the beak to make as well. So I'm going to put him to one side for a moment. I'm going to go back to my grey yarn. I should still have a little bit left, and we're going to make a magic circle again. So remember, tail end, lay it over your fingers, wrap round. It needs to cross on the inside of your hand, but doesn't need to cross on the other side. Under the first, over the second, pull it through, twist round, under the second again, and pull it through the little hoop, the loop on your hook there. That's your magic circle. We're going to put 6 double crochets into this magic circle. So under the 2 ends there, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through. That's 1 double crochet. And again, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Find your tail end and pull that nice and tight. And we're now going to increase all the stitches up to 12. So you can count round to check where you are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's my first one. So 2 stitches in the first one, 2 stitches in the next 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 one, and hopefully you'll have remembered to put your stitch marker in. 2 stitches in the last one. We're now up to 12 stitches. Pull that yarn tail nice and tight again, pop your stitch marker in again, and the next round, round 3, we're going up to 18 stitches, and that's with the repeat of double crochet, increase, 1, 2 in the same, and repeat that all the way round, double crochet, and then an increase, and I'll meet you back round at the end of this round. Pop your stitch marker back in again, and then the next round, round 4, we're going up to 24. So again, similar repeat, it's double crochet, increase. And you've got the pattern now, so repeat that all the way around, and I'll meet you at the end of the round. So you've now got 24 stitches. We're going to increase again up to 30. This time, double crochet, third double crochet, and then your increase stitch. So 1, 2. That's the pattern. Repeat it all the way around, and I'll meet you at the end of the round. Then we're on to round 6. So we're going to go up to 36 stitches this time. you know the pattern now. It's 4 double crochets and 1 increase. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then your increase stitch 2 in the same space. 1, 2. Repeat that pattern all the way around, and I'll meet you back at the start. Just so you know, it doesn't matter if your piece is curving a little bit, it's going to go round the hood of the penguin anyway, so that's quite good that it starts to curve a little bit, so don't worry if that happens. Round 7 is another increase round. We're going to increase up to 42, so we're going to do 5 double crochets and 1 increase. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and your increase. 1, 2. Repeat that all the way around, and I'll meet you at the end of the round. You've now increased up to 42, so the next 4 rounds, that's rounds 8 to 11, are all going to be just 1 double crochet in each stitch, so no more increasing, just 1 in each stitch all the way around for the next 4 rounds. Remember, good idea to jot that down with a pen as you're going or something, just so you can keep a tally of doing those 4 rounds. Okay, so 4 rounds all the way around to 42 stitches. Once you've done those, I'll meet you back here. Okay, so once you've done that, your hood is pretty much done. You're now just going to do the little sort of V that goes down the front of his head now. Okay, so in order to do that, we're going to chain 1. So that's just pull through your hoop, that's a chain 1. You're going to turn, you're going to work the other way, and you're going to do 5 double crochets across. Okay, so into the first stitch, 1 double crochet, into the next stitch, 1 double crochet, that's 2, in the next stitch, that's the 3rd, the next one, that's the 4th, and then in the next one, that's the 5th. Okay, and then again you're going to chain 1 and turn, and you're going to work back along the other way again, and you're going to do another 5 across. So into the first one, put 1, 2, 3, 4, and into that one at the edge, 5. And then you're going to chain 1 and turn again and work back across. Now this time you're going to do a decrease. Now I'm not going to do a front loops decrease, I'm going to do a proper decrease this time, where I go through both parts of the stitch, yarn over, pull through, then go into the next stitch, yarn over, pull through. I've got 3 loops on my hook, yarn over and pull through all 3 loops on my hook. That's a decrease, and then just a double crochet in the middle, and then a decrease in the last 2 stitches. So that's yarn over, pull through, then go into the next one, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops on my hook. I'm then going to chain 1 and turn again, and I'm just going to do 3 double crochets, 1 in each stitch. So 1 in the first one, 1 in the middle stitch, and 1 in the final one. Then I'm just going to chain 1 and turn once more, and I'm going to do a decrease first of all. So into that first stitch, yarn over, pull through, into the second stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops on my hook, and then a double crochet in the last one. Then I'm just going to chain 1 and finish off. So this is where you're going to snip off your yarn. Now you're going to need to leave quite a long yarn tail for sewing on. Okay, I've left quite a long one like this, and that's to help me sew it onto the penguin. So just pull it through all the way. So making this loop bigger until the end comes through. You can just make that nice and tight. This little bit that's in here, you can knot it off if you want to and just snip it a bit shorter so it doesn't get in your way. I'm going to sew on at the end, so I'm going to leave that for now and make the feet. So then I do all the sewing together at the very end. So I'll just put those to one side now. I'm going to make the beak and the feet with yellow. So I'm going to start with the beak. So I've now got my yellow yarn. I'm going to make a magic circle as we've done before. And I'm going to put 6 double crochets into that circle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to pull it tight. Pulling the wrong bit. Okay, make sure you're pulling the tail end. And then I'm going to count round. And there's no increases this time. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's my starting one. I'm just going to do 1 double crochet in each one. This is quite fiddly. The beak is quite small, so it will be fiddly. So just count them as you go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. You'll notice that that hole in the middle might start to open up again, but that's okay. Just keep pulling it the end tight. You can keep doing that. We're then just going to do 3 more double crochets just to make the beak a little bit, we kind of want it a bit top heavy so that it sits right. So we're just going to do 3 more double crochets. I'm just pushing that middle bit through to give it the shape, and then we're going to finish off. So just find the next stitch, do double crochet there, and then the next stitch, double crochet in there, and then the next one, and double crochet in there. And then you can do a slip stitch, the next one, and then chain 1. And again, you want not a very long tail, but long enough to sew it onto the head. So just pull that loop through until the tail comes through. And again, set that to one side because that's your beak, that's ready. And we'll head on to the feet. Again, the feet are quite small, so this can be a little bit fiddly, but by now you're probably getting quite good at this. So cross it over, make a magic circle again. This time you're only going to put 4 double crochet into the magic circle. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Pull your tail end nice and tight. And again, this will be pretty fiddly. You can use your stitch marker if that helps to show where you are. I think I might just count round with this because it's quite small. So 1, 2, 3, 4, that's my first stitch there, number 4. And we're going to do a double crochet and then an increase. So you do a double crochet, and then in the next one round you're going to do 2 double crochets. So 1 and 2 in the same spot. In the next one round you're going to do 1 double crochet, and then in the last one you're going to do 2 double crochets. So you should have a total of 6 now. I'm just going to push that through again. So pull that nice and tight, that end. Push this in, because that where that tail's coming out, that's actually the middle of your foot. So just push it round. Shape it round with your hook a little bit. We're then going to do 2 rounds of 6, so no increases. You're going to go round twice, just doing 6 double crochet. So 1, so it is a little bit fiddly because it's just a small thing that you're working with. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and you're going to do that again. So another 6 all the way around, no increases. So 1, you will just have to keep turning it as you go. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And this is kind of making the foot part, as it were, if penguins have feet. Well, they do, don't they? They have feet. I'm not sure they have toes, but. So on round 5, you're actually going to increase all of them now. So this might be a good point to use your stitch marker again. So I'm going to put my stitch marker in here. You've got 6 stitches currently. You're going to end up with 12. So into the next stitch, you're going to put 2 stitches. 1, 2. Then into the next one, another 2. 1, 2. Do that all the way around, put 2 in each one, and I'll meet you at the end. So now you've got your 12 all the way around. You're going to do 3 rounds of 12, so no more increases for the moment. You're going to do all the 1 stitch in each round all the way around 3 times. So 3 rounds of 12 stitches. I'll meet you back here once you've finished. Okay, so now that you've done those 3 rows of 12, we're going to do the last part of the foot, which is the sort of toes or the claws, as it's penguin. So you I'm going to put your hook into the next stitch, but you're going to go across both sides, so you actually go straight out the other side as well and make that a double crochet. You're going to do the same in the next stitch along, so you go right the way across the foot, make that a double crochet, and then in the next one you're going to do a slip stitch. So you just bring it through and then back through the other side, the other hook, the loop on your hook I should say, and then another double crochet, another double crochet, and see if you can just do a slip stitch at the end to finish off in the very last bit. That's just pull it right back through the loop on your hook, and then you can just chain one and leave a tail for sewing. That's probably plenty. You put it right the way through. Now with the feet, what you actually want to try and do is, once you've put this onto your needle, is bring your tail, because it's at the toe at the moment, you want to just take it back through the foot and bring it out at sort of the ankle part, I suppose, as it were, just because that's the bit that you're going to then attach to the body. And when you're sewing on, it's just a case of placing it where you want it to be. So obviously this is the front, this is the back with the colour change. So I want my feet to come out the front. So just place it on, and you're just going to sew up and down through the body of the penguin and then through the foot as well. Just sew it into place wherever you want it to be. Make sure that it's sewn on really well so it's not going to come undone. So going up between the body of the penguin and the part that you are sewing on. Through here as well. And once you're happy that it is securely sewn on, you can do a little knot to sort of lock it in place if you wish. I often just do a little knot around itself. So I've got a little bit of yellow under here, and I'll just go around here and go back on myself and do a little knot so it can't be seen. And then you're just going to lose your yarn tail within the body of your penguin. So just push my needle out the other side, and then I'm going to snip it off there. Give it a squidge and the yarn tail disappears. And that's how you're just going to sew on all the different bits, okay, each at a time. And you'll end up with your penguin that looks like this. And make sure you embroider those eyes, and I put eyebrows on him too, on this one. Okay, enjoy.